So you want to know how to do a SMART goal. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what does a SMART goal mean and how does it help you achieve the goals you're trying to set in a more realistic way and will get you actually accomplishing the goal that you've set. Welcome back to Everyday Executive. My name is Kelly. I was a nurse to CEO, and my mission is to mentor others to get the career and life of their dreams. So before setting a goal, you need to know what is a goal. A goal is something you actually want to achieve or an outcome that you want to get. And so the best way to do that is to do what they call SMART goals. S stands for the goal needs to be really, really specific. M stands for how are you going to measure it? A stands for is it achievable? Is it something you can actually achieve? R stands for, is it relevant? Is it something that's important to you, important to your team, or important to your organization? And T stands for, what is the time that you want to set to achieve that goal? So SMART goals are used in everyday life. They may be used on your appraisal, your evaluation you have to do at work. It may be used in a way that you need to evaluate others. Or it may be used in a way that you yourself have set. We're coming into the holidays, we're coming into New Year's if you're watching this at this time. And, New Year's resolutions, are real, but often they're not achieved. Why aren't they achieved? They're not achieved because they aren't a SMART goal. They're not specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and have a time associated with them. So today we're going to talk about how do we do that in a better way to achieve those goals. It's not just about setting the goals. Again, it's about achieving them and getting them. So the first thing you need to understand is what's your why for setting that goal? What's important to you? Well, first of all, it's going to help give you direction and purpose. It's going to be very concrete, so you know exactly what you need to do and get the exact results you're trying to get. That's really what's important. And sometimes, like I said, whether it's a professional goal, which may be about your organization. So performance goals, like in your evaluation or goals you need to set with your employer, are performance goals. Those are goals that the direction overall is set by the organization or your supervisor, and the goal is set by what do you need to do to help the organization set that goal? That would be a performance goal. A development goal might be used in your personal life, but it's used more for growth and development. So it could be used for work. It could be how can I grow in my job, or how can I grow and get the career more that I want? Or it could be what do I need to do in my personal life with my personal goals, with whether it's lifestyle, family, spirituality, whatever that looks like. That would be more of a developmental goal. No matter what goal you're setting, SMART goals is what you would use. That's what you're going to use that has the most success to actually achieve the outcome you're trying to achieve. So it gives you back control. You have control over that goal and how you're going to achieve it. Because you're setting clear, specific, right? S as in SMART, under the SMART, clear, specific intentions as to how you're going to do it. The M, the measurable part, it gives you a benchmark. It gives you something that you're looking at. It's giving you a goal that could be moved. That measurement could be moved, but it's allowing you to see, where is my progress? Am I 50% there? Am I 25% there? Or am I almost there? And then relevant. Is it realistic? Is it achievable for the A? Meaning, if you're expecting to lose 100 pounds in 90 days, that's probably not achievable, right? But if you want to lose 100 pounds over 5 years, if your goal is 5 years from now, 20 pounds a year is achievable. And so that would be an example of, really be achievable. Find something that works for you that's realistic. Be sensible about it as well. It also helps you cut out what's not necessary. If you set goals for yourself, whether with your work or your professional or personal development, that's really setting your tone for the next year as to what's important to you. It helps you with work-life balance. We've talked about this with other videos. It helps you achieve and get that sense of purpose because now you know this is what's important to me next year and this is how I'm going to achieve it. It sets a clear beginning and end. The time part of it clearly sets, I'm starting today or I'm starting, on Monday, and here is my end, 1 year from now, 90 days from now, whatever that looks like for you. It can be short-term or long-term. We talked about that 100 pounds in 5 years versus 90 days. That is a very long-term goal, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about, even though that is definitely achievable, if that's something that you need, it's probably not what's going to continue motivating you going forward. So you're going to need to create shorter goals, SMART goals, to get to that longer-term goal, that longer why. And we'll talk about that as well. If this is of interest to you, or if you struggle with SMART goals, or if you're struggling with your team that you're working with, motivated to get the SMART goals achieved, please comment below and we'll talk more about deeper dive about very specific ways you can motivate your team to get the SMART goals achieved. One of the things that we talked about, so let's use the 100 pounds in 5 years. So you break that down then into 20 pounds a year, right? That is more achievable. Then you have to break that down as to how are you really going to achieve that? One way you could look at it is what they call habit stacking. This is not taking baby steps is so critically important to your goal development, to your goal setting. Because if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's when you stop doing and trying to achieve your goal. And so really look at ways that you can break those down into small habits. And I would say break them down into the most easiest habits that you can actually do. Let me give you an example. I've talked before, I work out every day at 5 a.m. I'm very much about burning the most calories that I can. So frankly, so I can eat as many calories as I can. Because, while I eat healthy, I also know I enjoy my sweets. I enjoy, going out for dinner with my family and with friends. And so I need to burn more calories. Well, I also know that yoga, or what we call here flow, which is like a yoga Pilates, is extremely good and has so many health benefits. But I was finding myself not wanting to do that particular class after another hard workout class because it wasn't burning as many calories even with the benefit. So that was a goal that I set for myself actually. And I broke it down into what is the easiest thing that I can do to get a flow class in or a yoga class in and maintain my goals. And so what I told myself, I did a SMART goal. I was very specific. I will go to this yoga flow class. I measured it. I will go once a month. So while that may seem to some people like, well, once a month, what's that going to do? For me, that was at that time my mental way of saying I can go once a month. I can go 12 times a year. That's all it is. And that will start me doing a few more of those kind of more benefit for your health, mind, and well-being classes. And so I set the goal, and that's measurable, right? Going to flow or yoga one time per month. Is that achievable? Absolutely. Was it relevant for the goals that I was trying to set, which was to get more stretching, get more flexibility, just have more health and well-being in a different way? Absolutely. Did I have a time set to it? I did. I was going to start it January 1 time a month, 12 times a year, I was going to do yoga. And you know what ended up happening? I ended up going more than once because I found, okay, this is pretty nice. And I would start to look, okay, it's January, it's February. If I go the last week of the month and I go the first week of next month, that's 2 in a row and I got that month done. Lo and behold, I loved it. And now I go almost every week after a certain class. And so what you'll find is stacking those habits actually helps you achieve the goal. But don't make it so overwhelming that you just want to give up on those days that you're feeling overwhelmed. Make it small, make it very specific, make it a SMART goal, but make it so small that you can't help yourself, but you're going to have to do it. And you'll find that will start motivating you to do it more often. Monitor your environment and remove barriers. Another goal of mine is I drink a lot of coffee. I haven't gotten away from that. I feel like it's the drink of the gods. But I always had to have a packet of Splenda, a no-calorie sweetener in it. And I also know, that wasn't good for me either. So I really set a goal to get rid of that one packet of Splenda and just be on black coffee. One of the ways that I achieved that was I removed a barrier. When I got up at 5 a.m., I made it just black. And I took that coffee with me to the gym. There was no Splenda at the gym. So I had two choices. I could either drink the coffee black, and to be honest, I was a little bit like blah at the time, or I didn't get my caffeine. Those were my two choices. Now, as I've said before, coffee is a drink of the god and I need my caffeine. And so I started drinking it just black. I allowed myself just that glass at the Y, and then the remainder of my glasses, I put my Splenda in. And you know what? After 2 weeks, I didn't need the Splenda for the remainder of the glasses because I got so used to it at the gym drinking my black coffee that now I can't have anything else in it. I prefer black. But that is a way you can remove barriers. You remove barriers by just making it not available if you can. Just absolutely make it to the point where when you're setting your goals, and if you find that there's going to be a barrier to that goal, try to remove it out of your life if you can. I know there's going to be goals where that's not possible, but that's just another way of really helping you achieve your goal. The odds increase by your success of achieving that goal. Again, we've talked about if you make them smart, but you got to be flexible. You got to reward yourself in the little times. Reward yourself as you get closer in those small habits, because rewarding yourself is what's going to make you feel good and want you to continue trying to get that next goal. But sometimes you got to be flexible. If you're finding, if we go back to the 100 pounds in 5 years and now you've broken it down into 20 pounds this next year, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this next year. And then you break down into how am I going to achieve that? Well, I'm going to exercise 2 days a week for 30 minutes because that's the small habit that I need to start every week, and I'm going to do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm going to lay my clothes out the night before to make sure I make this happen. And I'm going to think about what barriers could be put in place to help me not achieve that goal. And I'm going to put in processes to remove those barriers. Sometimes you may need to adjust that. Maybe you need to say, you know what, 20 pounds is too much for me next year, but maybe I can do 12 pounds next year. Maybe it's 1 pound a month. That's okay. Progress over perfection. This is not about perfection. This is about making progress. And I'll tell you, nothing is ever going to be perfect. There's always going to be barriers that are going to try to get in the way of you and that goal, which is why being flexible with yourself, being nimble, and allowing grace for that, while at the same time not giving excuses for things and gritting through it, helping to think about what are going to be in the way of that goal will help you prepare how you're going to react to that when that barrier occurs. So be flexible with yourself. Make the goal as small as you can that's achievable, but yet gets you progress and reward to get you moving forward. Now, a work goal sometimes can also be hard for people to come up with. And again, we talked about SMART goals work for all of it. It works for your professional development as well as your performance or the performance of others. Another example to use for a work goal. Most people have some sort of customer satisfaction survey. So maybe in your area, you have found that you would like to increase your customer satisfaction by 15% in the next 2 quarters. So one goal might be very specific. I'm going to increase our overall customer satisfaction by 15% over 2 quarters. That might be one goal. Now you have to break down a SMART goal as to how you're going to achieve that. It may be I'm going to round and make sure my employees are, smiling at their people, talking with their customers 3 times a week at 8 a.m. for the next 30 days to see, is that an area we need to improve on? And then I'm going to evaluate it. How am I doing? Where are we at? What does our first quarter customer satisfaction look like? So again, you have a broader goal, but then you're breaking them down into smaller, SMART goals. And that's really the way you get success and an outcome that you would like. So what questions do you have? I'm sorry, my puppy is barking if that came through. I do have a 6.5 pound multi-poo that thinks she runs the house. So she's the love of our life around here, even with the kids. So what questions do you have in regards to goals and goal setting? I know this is a common question I get asked often, so I'd love to hear from you as to what questions you have, what barriers do you find with this, and if you found this helpful. If you found this helpful, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really helps my channel, and we will talk soon.